Okay, so the brain, first thing about the brain is this very tough bit of connective tissue that wraps it up. It's actually 3 layers. It's called meninges, right? Meninges. So,
Meninges.
right, so if that gets infected, you have?
Meningitis.
Right, very good.
That's meningitis.
You have no ninjas.
Oh,
Come on.
all right. So,
Where's the meninge?
the meninges is the outer covering. Okay. Now, that's where the blood vessels are, right? The brain has its own circulation of fluid. Notice there's no blood inside the brain. The blood vessels are all outside, just under the meninges, and then you have the so-called blood-brain barrier. Anyway, of course, the sheep's brain is a lot smaller than a human brain, and also the cerebrum is relatively...
Touch the cerebrum, please. Can you just touch it?
That's the cerebrum.
Touch it. Thanks.
If I touch it, will you flinch? You will, right?
I will. Very nice.
We'll find a hole and fish something out.
Cool. Just as long as it falls out like this.
No, the pain, this is where you feel pain, is right. This is the pain center here. The thalamus.
I thought that was a hospital.
The thalamus. Okay, so anyway, so here's, you have the cerebrum, right? So, thinking, feeling, memory, all that, central processing stuff. Connecting the 2 hemispheres of the brain, you have this corpus callosum. All of these words are in the book in bold type in chapter 19. Corpus callosum. In the middle, you have the thalamus. That's where pain is sensed. It's sort of a central connecting point here. And then you have the medulla. The medulla is where you have autonomic functions like breathing and heart rate and temperature regulation and stuff like that. The medulla is also called the brain stem. If you call it brain stem, that's okay too. For you people who prefer vernacular, brain stem is a perfectly acceptable technical term. The brain stem. This is actually the pituitary gland down here, the medulla or brain stem. So those are the principal parts, are basically the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brain stem. Now, you notice how they always make a big deal in the books about how the cerebellum kind of looks like a tree with branches. And what I noticed some years ago is that the cerebrum actually is no different. So if you cut it in cross section and you turn it 90 degrees, you will see, voila, so it is also.
That's a cross section.
Right, in cross section, they have the same architecture.
So that's the cerebellum? What is that?
This is the cerebellum, this is the cerebrum.
Oh.
So in other words, if this is like a helicopter, right, there's your main rotor. Cerebrum is your main rotor, and in the back you have a tail rotor that is oriented 90 degrees to the main rotor. And what's its purpose?
Stability.
Yeah, stabilizing it, right? And that's exactly what the cerebellum is for.
Cerebellum stabilized.
Cerebellum, yes, for balance, coordination, stabilization.
Think about cerebellum starts with a C and balance is a B. That makes sense.
What is the other one?
Well,
And
so
Professor
so that shows you that this, shows you how a helicopter kind of copies nature. Of course, now they all have these 4-corner helicopters, all these drones, right, to deliver packages for Amazon. But it's also the cerebellum. Talking about balance. If you get stopped for DUI and the cop asks you to walk a straight line, if you are impaired by alcohol, it's the cerebellum that's affected. So alcohol inhibits your cerebellar function, and that's why you have trouble walking and walking a straight line.
Effective acting.
I don't usually have that problem while I'm working.
That's good to hear.
Or driving.
What about
Also
pot?
good to hear.
What's that?
What about pot?
Port?
Pot. Pot.
Pot. Pot affects really more the forebrain, somewhere in there. That's more of a mood thing rather than a coordination thing. and time perception and stuff like that.
Say,
So they'll pull you over for pot if you're doing 20 in a 55 mile zone.
I don't think pot makes you drive slow.
Sometimes it does. Some people it does.
Thanks, man.
But I think
Speaking of
it's, in
experience,
any
yeah.
case, it's not
Perhaps.
really good to be driving under the influence of anything like that, because at the very least, pot makes you very vulnerable to distract. Right, and distracted driving.
very least.
Yeah, so distraction is not a good thing to be driving with. All these recreational drugs are best used, in a safe space at home, or among friends, or in an establishment that is set up for the purpose.
I ran out of space on my phone.
Yeah. So anyway, that's basically it. So there's the brain. This, by the way, the bottom of the brain, you can see where the optic nerves. This is called the optic chiasma, which means crossing over, because you have the right and the left optic nerves cross. Your left brain basically runs your right side, and your right brain runs your left side, and then they're sort of crossed that way. So you see what your right eye sees goes directly to your left brain, what your left eye sees goes directly to your right brain, and then through this chiasm here, and then through this corpus callosum, the images and interpretations are shared.
Is that it for today?
That's it.